Welcome back. Our today's topic is heart. Heart is a muscular organ which is of the size of our fist. It consists of different chambers, mainly four chambers. Upper two are auricles or atrium and lower ones are known as ventricle. Because this is, while labeling, this side we label as left and this side we will label as right. This is left and this is right. So this is upper chamber is known as left atrium. This side is right atrium. Here left ventricle and here this side right ventricle. The heart consists of four chambers. The upper two are known as atrium and the lower two are known as ventricle. In between the atrium and ventricle, valves are present. Valves are present between atrium and ventricle. What is the function of valve? Because of these valves, the blood flow in one direction only. The blood flows in one direction only, that is from atrium towards ventricle, from atrium towards ventricle. This is the function of valve, or valve prevent the backflow of the blood. In the right atrium, the deoxygenated blood comes through inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the lower part of our body, that is from below the heart, and superior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the heart. They both bring deoxygenated blood and open into right atrium. This is inferior vena cava and this is superior vena cava. They both open into right atrium. So deoxygenated blood first comes into the right atrium. When atrium contracts, the blood goes into the ventricle. From the right atrium, the blood goes into the right ventricle. And when the ventricle contracts, the blood goes into the pulmonary artery. From here, this artery starts and this is it. The blue color shows the deoxygenated blood and red arrows show oxygenated blood. From the right ventricle, the blood goes to the lungs for oxygen through pulmonary artery. This is the only artery in our body which carry deoxygenated blood. Otherwise, all arteries carries oxygenated blood. Only pulmonary artery contains deoxygenated blood. From the right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs, one towards the left lung and one towards the right lung. The pulmonary from the right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood goes through pulmonary artery to the lungs for oxygen. After getting oxygen, or after the blood becomes oxygenated through pulmonary vein. Actually, the veins carry deoxygenated blood. Only this is the vein in our body which carry oxygenated blood. From the lungs, through pulmonary vein, the oxygenated blood comes in left atrium. And when left atrium contracts, the blood goes into left ventricle. When left ventricle contracts, the oxygenated blood through left ventricle, from left ventricle through aorta, it goes to the different parts of the body. This curved vessel is aorta. Clear? So again I am telling you, through inferior vena cava and superior vena cava, the deoxygenated blood first comes into right atrium. When right atrium contracts, the blood goes into right ventricle. From right ventricle through pulmonary artery, the blood goes to the lungs. After getting oxygen, the oxygenated blood through pulmonary vein comes into the left atrium. When left atrium contracts, the blood goes into left ventricle. When left ventricle contracts through aorta, the blood goes to different parts of the body. This is, I have shown the circulation of blood, a flow chart. IV, inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, they bring deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. From the right atrium, the blood goes to the right ventricle. And from the right ventricle through pulmonary artery, the deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs. This is the only artery in our body which carries deoxygenated blood. From the lungs, the oxygenated blood through pulmonary vein comes in left atrium. From the left atrium, this is the only vein in our body which carry oxygenated blood. From the left atrium, now the oxygenated blood goes into left ventricle. And when left ventricle contract through aorta, the blood goes to different parts of the body. And again, in the different parts of the body, when the oxygen is used, the deoxygenated blood comes into the inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. This is the circulation of blood. First, both the auricles contract and then both the ventricles contract. When the right auricle contract, the blood goes into right ventricle. Similarly, at that time only, from the left auricle, the blood goes into left ventricle. From the left ventricle, the blood goes to the aorta, and from the right ventricle, the blood goes to the pulmonary artery. So in this way, the blood circulates in our body. The right side contains, in our heart, the right side contains deoxygenated blood and left side contains oxygenated blood. There is a separation of deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood in our body. Septum is present. This is the muscular structure which separates the deoxygenated blood from the oxygenated blood. So what is the function of septum? Septum separates the deoxygenated blood from the oxygenated blood. Function of septum. Now one more question can be asked. Why the walls of ventricle are thicker as compared to the walls of the atrium? Why the walls of ventricle are thicker as compared to the walls of atrium? Reason: because from the ventricle they have to pump blood to the far away organs. For example, from the right ventricle it has to pump blood towards the lungs, and from the left ventricle it has to pump the blood towards whole body through aorta. So these ventricles have a thicker wall because they have to pump blood to the far away organs. That is why more pressure is here. So that is why they have thicker wall. I hope this is clear to you. Again I am repeating the whole process. From the deoxygenated blood first comes in right auricle, then right ventricle, through pulmonary artery it goes to lungs. After getting oxygen from the lungs through pulmonary vein, it comes into the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, and then through aorta it goes to all parts of our body. This how is the circulation of blood in our body. I hope this is clear now. Now the question arises, what is the need of septum? Septum separates deoxygenated blood from oxygenated blood. Now why there is separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood? Because in humans our energy requirements are more. Now why our energy requirements are more? Because we have to maintain our body temperature. In warm-blooded organisms have to maintain their body temperature. For that they have to spend energy. That is why we need more oxygenated blood, or our energy requirements are more. That is why we need oxygenated blood. I hope now the structure of heart, circulation of blood is clear to you. Okay. Now what is double circulation? The blood passes twice through the heart to complete one cycle, that is known as double circulation. The blood passes twice, first through this right side, and then it goes to lung, and then again it comes towards the left side. So blood passes twice through the heart to complete one cycle. This is known as double circulation. Again, the blood passes twice through the heart. Once to the right side, then it goes to the lungs. Again, after getting oxygen, it comes to the left side. The blood passes twice through the heart to complete one cycle. This is known as double circulation. In case of fish, it has two chambers only, one auricle and one ventricle. When auricle pumps blood, the blood goes in ventricle, and from the ventricle it goes to the gills. After getting oxygen through the gills, the blood goes to the different parts of the body in case of fish. So in fish, two chambered heart only are present, and in humans, four chambered heart is present. So I think now clear. Thank you.